And if you think about it, back in the day when you just had to use a printing press to get out the news, printing press is very expensive. Your average person, sort of the average blogger, you think of in his bedroom now, he couldn't afford a printing press. But now, and that's the part of sort of producing the news. Now, if you can afford an internet connection, even if you can't, you can go to libraries or sort of cafes that have free internet access, and you can use some of these free tools that I just mentioned, and you can be a publisher. You can start a blog in 5 minutes, and in the time you guys, when you break for lunch, and the time of your lunch period, you can rattle off 3 blog posts, and you could be a publisher. So that's the first thing the internet changed as far as barriers to entry. Is making production so much cheaper and really accessible to anyone. And the second part is distribution. When you guys distribute your newspaper, how do you do it? Do you take it to classrooms, or do you have stands, or how do you do it?
Well, interestingly enough, the last distribution was quite interesting.
Oh, we got the newspaper. It was supposed to be at 11, like before we got this class, but it came at 2:30, and it was the day that we got out from spring break, and we had a fire drill, which is, and it was supposed to be like after the fire drill, we were supposed to go home, like not go back into the building. So we were like giving them out during the fire drill. That's lousy for you guys, but I mean that's great. I mean it speaks to my point, is that when you have to distribute a physical product, you're limited on sort of the physics, of the physical world, where you had that newspaper had to come to be delivered in a specific place. You guys had to get it to a specific place, and you had to leave the building and for the fire drill and couldn't be in there to distribute it around. It's a lot of work. It's very labor intensive and costly too. If you think about it, I guess whoever delivered the papers, they probably bought them on a truck, and you got to pay for the truck and pay to maintain the truck and pay for the gas. I guess quite a lot of you guys are driving. You know how expensive gas can get, and if you're paying your own car insurance or car insurance, all that cost has to be folded into the cost of the newspaper. It's expensive. It's a barrier to entry.
Which is really funny, because what medium did you say you preferred yesterday, digital or print?
Print.
And you don't have that with on the internet. You can send. I can send an email to Hong Kong right now. And Snap. It's not going to cost me anything than what I'm already paying for my internet connection. Which again, it could be free. I'm in a library. If I were to send a newspaper to Hong Kong, much different story. And the last point I want to make about that is, not only is distribution easier when it's done electronically, but readers, users can do it for you. And if you think about it as sort of some media company, there's any free weeklies in town here. There's a few. Where I grew up, where basically the company just puts their newspaper in every driveway in town. Here, we want you to read this. We want you to read our news, read our advertisements. You may or may not, but because it's this company saying, "Here, I want you to read this." But as you were saying, if you have your friends on Facebook or wherever saying, "Hey, I want you to read this," you're gonna be more inclined to listen, because you know them, they know what you like, you know what they like. You trust each other. You're more likely to sort of take a recommendation from a friend. So when you have people's friends distributing news, that's a big advantage. And so, again, things have changed. Anyone, like I said, can be a publisher these days. It creates challenges and opportunities for publishers. Again, they're not so special. You trust each other. You trust each other. Take a recommendation. So when big advantage. And so, again, change. Like I said today, it creates challenges. Again, they're not. You trust each other. You're more likely to take a recommendation from a friend. So when people
take advantage. So, again, change, like I said, media publishers these days, it creates challenges, opportunities, publishers. Again, they're not, you trust them, take a right. So when take advantage, take advantage. So, again, change, like I said, it creates challenges, again, they're not, you trust them, you're more likely to take a right from them. So when take advantage. So, again, change, like I said, media publishers these days, it creates challenges, opportunities, publishers. Again, they're not, you trust them, especially take a right, especially take advantage, especially, again, especially change, like I said, it creates challenges, again, they're not, you trust it, you're more likely, to take a right, so when you're take advantage, so, again, change, like I said, media publishers these days, it creates challenges, opportunities, publishers. Again, they're not town, you trust town, take a town, so when town, take advantage, so, again, change, like I said,